What's up, guys? How's it going? And welcome back to Kitchen Table Meta. Alright, so in today's video, we're going to do something a little special. I've never done it before, so I'm pretty excited about it. And that is we're going to open up some product from the new sets of Dragon Ball Super, which is going to be the Colossal Warfare set. Now, this is a Bandai sponsored video. What I mean by that is they sent me the product to open. I applied for their little YouTube program, and they sent it to me, which is awesome. Thank you very much for doing that. But I want to let you guys know they sent me the product just so you guys know. But I'll still, review all the cards fairly. I'll let you guys know what's up. I also included a little tracker at the bottom here. It's a little scrolling text that will let you guys know the top 10 best-selling cards and the top 10 most valuable cards in the set as well. So that should help you kind of follow along with the cards I open, and if you're curious in general. These are all by TCG player prices, just the average price. Some of them might be higher or lower. I just wanted to give you guys a little insight into the set. I'm also going to be talking about some of both of the new keywords for the set as well, and going over some of the cool stuff you can open as well. So I'm just going to do kind of a small little review of the set while opening up some of this product as well. Like you guys know, I always like to try to keep this as informative as possible, so that's always going to be the main premise of the video. So real quick, also something else I want to tell you guys is, if you guys don't know, they Bandai also revealed all of the Ultimate Box spoilers today as well, so you guys can go check that out. I want to put a couple pictures here of some of my favorite cards, but there's so many cool cards coming out in that set. There's a new Zeno leader, which looks really, really cool. There's a new Vegito card that's really cool. And there's also a Topo card, a God Instruction Topo card, which looks really, really cool as well. But like I said, go check those out. You guys won't regret it. It's awesome. I'll include the link to the description below. And also, John from the team is going to be doing a little review with some of the pro players. They're going to write their thoughts on all the cards for you as well, which will be up on the website. But I'll link all that in the description below. Let's get into this this opening. Okay, so what they gave me to open was they gave me 5 packs of boosters, which hopefully have some awesome cards in it. But if you guys know, I actually am the worst at opening booster packs, so I'm sure these are all terrible cards. But let's hope that we get some good stuff. And they also sent me one of the new starter decks, which is the Guardian of the Namekians. I actually think that this is the best starter set, the starter pack out of both of them. This has some really cool cards in it. The leader's really good. But, in my opinion, guys, you should always try to buy 2 of every starter when they come out, because they do have unique cards in them. So something different with this game that, some other cards, other games don't do. There are only cards that you can open with the starter deck in this, with the Dragon Ball Super starter decks. Also, something that's really cool coming up in DC, there's going to be a starter only format where you can play in a tournament, but you can only use starter decks, which is really cool. It looks like Bandai is going to kind of embrace that format as well, and let us do that. They're also going to give that like tournament kits to shops to do that as well, which you can play for tournament kits. It's a great way to get new players into the game, but it's also just going to be an extremely fun format as well, because all the starters are really, really cool. So yeah, so that's Guardian of the Namekians. So we're going to start with the Guardian of the Namekians starter. This is actually, I actually bought 2 of this immediately when they came out. This starter is actually really, really good. What I'll do is I'm just going to open it up, and then we're going to go through all the cards. I'll talk about them, and then we'll move on to the booster packs and see what we get. Okay, so let me open this up real quick. Get this thing open. It's actually really, really cool. Before I open this up, I want to show you guys, for people who might not be aware, the art of this game is just so cool. All of their products are so well done, and I just love the way that the art looks. I love the way, you always get that foil leader in here with this too. It just looks so, so cool. All right, so let's get this open. Okay. Get these cards out of here real quick. Set the box over here. All right, so here we go. Here's all the cards you get. Like I said, you get a full 50-card deck when you open these up. It's, like I said, a great starting point for any new player. You just buy one of these starter decks. You can play in your events, and then you can just add to it. Like I said, it's just such a great way to start. Okay, so we're going to start off here real quick with the leader card, which is Piccolo Jr. It says, when this card attacks a leader card, draw 1 card. That's the auto ability. And then Awakening says, when your life is at 4 or less, you may choose up to 2 of your energy and switch into active mode and flip this card over. Now, traditionally, this is a new type of Awakening we've seen with some of the new cards, which is that this card readies 2 energy whenever you awaken. Now, the last set 3, those leaders, tended to be pretty bad. We didn't really play with any of them. I think Pan was one of the only leaders that we played that did that effect. Now with the new set 4, Colossal Warfare sets, we're seeing that the format's speeding up a lot. And so, people can put a lot of pressure on you, players can put a lot of pressure on you very early. And actually this, when you awaken ready to energy, is saving a lot of players during the game. You have to tap out this, try to survive. And then when they hit you to 4, you can awaken ready to more energy and survive even more than what you could before. It's also really powerful on your turn. So you can ready 2 energy on your turn and, you know, play more stuff than what you normally could and be more aggressive yourself. So this has actually been a great defensive and offensive ability with our new set. And it's actually starting to turn out to where that the untapped 2 leaders are starting to maybe take it over just a little bit. I mean, they're definitely, they've went from not being that playable to actually being some of the best leaders in the game. The new Gohan leader is a good example. And, you know, so this effect might not look that great, but it's actually turned out to be great. It turned out to be really, really good. Okay, so once you awaken to Piccolo Jr. Evil Reborn. Look how awesome this looks as a foil. Looks great. Auto, when this card attacks, draw 1 card. Now, something to remember is that on the front side, this card only draws a card when it attacks a leader, but on the back side, it actually loses that restriction. So every time it attacks, it gets to draw a card. And this says active made once per turn, 1 green. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 5 or less and KO it. Then this card gains plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. This effect is actually extremely powerful, guys. There's no bond restriction to this, which we'll talk about. It's one of the new abilities in this set. It's just literally, you just pay 1 green once per turn during your main phase, and then you just you KO another person's card that's costs 5 or less. It's very similar to Cell's ability, Cell's Awaken ability, except, you know, it's restricted a little bit more as far as, you know, it has a limit. It can only kill 5 or less. Both this new format, not very many people are playing, you know, anything over 4, you know, energy, let alone 5. So, you know, this is essentially going to kill just about anything or KO just about anything your opponent will play. Plus, on top of that, it actually boosts your leader as well, makes your leader more strong. So, you know, honestly, this is probably the best Piccolo leader that we have currently. It's just such a great leader, and it's a leader that I expect to see at least some play going forward. So definitely, like I said, pick up your copy of the starter deck just for this leader. It's worth it just in that. Okay, so we're gonna go into the next card. Now, this card you get 1 foil of this card, so you get the King Piccolo, Lord of Terror, and then you also get a non-foil version of him, which is pretty cool. So to get a play set of this card, you would need to buy two starters. That's why I always tell you, you know, everyone, you know, it's always good to buy two starters when you can, just because these cards are you know, you can only get them in a starter. This is a starter exclusive card, and you know, you'll get your play set when you buy 2. Okay, so I'm going to put him over here so we can talk about the foil one. Looks prettier. So King Piccolo, Lord of Terror. It says Double Strike, Permanent Bond. Now, this is one of the new abilities in Colossal Warfare, which is really neat. What it does is it has Bond and a number. And so this is a permanent ability. So this is something that always happens as long as this is this is met. So it says Bond 3. So the number we're looking through here is 3, and it says Namekian. And so what that means is that as long as you have 3 Namekians in play, that bond ability will happen. So in this instance, it says Bond 3 Namekian. I'll go ahead and read the description for you. It might be better to read the description than what I can say. But it says, this skill takes effect when you have 3 or more of the specified battle card in play. So, you know, if you have at least three other Namekians in play when you play this card, it says reduce, actually, you know, even counting this card, it says reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. So obviously you'd have to have 3 for this card effect. You would have to have 3 Namekians in play before you played this card, because it would reduce it from a 5-cost card down to a 3-cost card. And it says when you play this card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 5 or less and KO it. Again, guys, a very powerful effect with the bond. Now, playing this as a 5-drop, it probably won't see that much play. You know, it doesn't have barrier, it has no way to really protect itself. It's very expensive. You know, 5 energy is a lot in our current format. The format is getting very fast, which is a good thing. I actually love the current format. However, if you can get this bond effect to work, if you can get this to go from a 5-drop to a 3-drop, now you're talking. Now a 3-cost 25k double striker that KOs something when it comes in play, that's something I want to play. So it's really going to depend on how often you can get the bond, the 3-cost bond, if this card will, you know, see play. Now, right now we do have a lot of ways to do that. We have a lot of really strong Namekians. We also have a lot of Namekians with barrier. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that you're going to be able to get this out, but it worries me a little bit that this is Bond 3 Namekian. Now, if it's just Bond 3, like we see some of the other Namekians in this set where they have Bond, but they have no restriction for what they needed, you know, what needs to be out there, I could probably get a little bit more on board with this card. So I think this card is great, but what I would do is I'd recommend maybe not playing any more than 2 of this card unless you're in a very heavy Namekian Bond deck, which I'm not sure we have enough support for just yet. But do remember that this set, this starter deck is mostly Namekian, but there also are tons of Namekian cards that came out ever since set 1 as well, because Piccolo is a Namekian. So even his blue cards are Namekian. So don't forget to look at those cards as well when talking about these cards. Okay. So let's go to the next card. Now, this card is the reason why you should buy the starter. This is why I bought 2 of the starter almost immediately when I could, and that is our boy Indomitable Link Piccolo. Now, this is a 2-cost, 1 green, 10,000 attacker. It says auto, when you play this card, choose up to 1 Son Goku Adolescence with an energy cost 3 or less from your deck and add it to your hand. Then shuffle your deck. Now, guys, this card's insane because it is a Universe 7 card. And that's something right down here in its special trait bar right here. You'll see it's a Namekian, it's a god, and it's a Universe 7. The reason why this is really important is it will work in a variety of decks. Of course, it'll work in maybe a Buuhan deck because you can search for those adolescent Gokus, Gohans to use with your Buu combo. But what we want to use it for, and what I've been using it for a lot, is the Gohan deck. So that's the Universe 7 Gohan deck. It's great for that. You can play this out. You can search your deck for a Gohan, which is the next card coming up. And then after that, you can combo this card with Gohan and draw 2 cards off of it. So just extremely powerful card. It has a lot of functionality, and it makes that Gohan deck, which is already a consistent deck, so much more consistent. Something that we've been doing on our team is that we've been putting in 2 blue adolescent Gohan and 2 red adolescent Gohan. That way this can fix our energy as well. We can play this out, go get a blue energy if we need it, or go get a red energy if we need it. It's just a very versatile card. It can be ran in a multitude of decks, and it's just a great 2-drop. So definitely get your place out of this card. It is a fantastic card. And honestly, probably the best card in the starter. And this is a great starter, but it's probably the best card in the starter. Okay, so next up is the Gohan. I kind of sneak peeked a little bit. You get 2 of this card as well. And this is going to be the last of the starter exclusive cards. This is the Indomitable Link Son Gohan. Actually, let me make sure I told you guys that right. I think I did. I think that is the last of the... No, actually, there's one more. There's one more starter exclusive. Okay, so this is Indomitable Link Son Gohan. This is a 3-cost, 1 green, 15,000 attacker. It says when you play this card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less and KO it. Very strong KO effect. The fact it's searchable from Piccolo makes it even better. It is a Gohan adolescent, so it can be used in the Buu chain if needed. However, this doesn't get any special abilities off of that Buu. But just a really solid card. Like I said, perfect to be searched out with the Piccolo, but compared to almost all the Gohan adolescences are almost all 3-drop, all the ones that we play a lot, and compared to them, this is a little bit more lackluster compared to the BCC Gohan or even the blue Gohan ran in Universe 7. But this does still have its purposes, and if you're running a more green-based Universe 7 Gohan deck, this card's absolutely insane. The fact that it does have a KO built to it is very good. It's just 3 energy is a little expensive currently. You really want your 3 energy cards to do something on top of having an auto like this. You want them to come in auto, maybe have critical or blocker or have something else, and this doesn't have that, so it worries me a little bit, but I still think this will, at worst, still get play in the Universe 7 Gohan sideboard decks, like I said. And if the format slows down at all, this card is going to be great. So, okay, so now, like I said last time, we're going to get to the last starter exclusive card, and that is Namekian Bond. Man, I'm going to say this person's name wrong. I am so sorry. Sinel? That is probably terribly wrong, and I am sorry. But still, a really neat card. 3-drop, 1 green, 15,000 power, auto bond 3, Namekian. So again, remember, this is a bond with the Namekian. It says, again, I'm going to spin skill one more time. It says this skill takes effect when you have 3 or more of the specified battle cards in play. So this is auto bond 3, Namekian. So you have to have at least 3 or more Namekians in play. When you play this card, draw 1 card, then you may choose up to 2 cards from your life and add them to your hand. If you choose to add 1 or more card to your hand, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. A very conditional removal battle card. Now this is very similar to me to where Krillin's at with Universe 7 decks. Now I like that Bandai is doing this with their cards. They're giving you more self-awakening cards, which is really important. However, right now, again, self-awakening, very dangerous with our aggressive format. However, this is really cool because this card, it says when you play this card, draw 1 card, so that you get your card back no matter what, so that's great. And it says then you may choose up to 2 cards from your life. Now it's important whenever, anytime a card says up to, that means you can choose 0 as your number. So when you can just play this out as a 3-drop 15k, that draws you a card. You don't have to continue it. You don't have to take a life. But if you do take a life, then you get a KO a card, which is really cool. So you can even just take 1 life. You don't have to take both. So because the effect happens as long as you take at least 1 life. So a very versatile Namekian, honestly, probably one of the best Namekians in this starter. And if you're trying to go for that Namekian play style and you're choosing a leader that doesn't have a way to self-awaken, this card I think is going to be great. It's essentially your Namekian Krillin. He's eating bold, so that's awesome. So yeah, definitely check him out. Like I said, a very good card. I don't think I'd run 4 of them. Maybe run 3 and replace them with maybe a Namekian with barrier or something to make your strategy a little more consistent. But still, very, very powerful card, and definitely has a niche ability that we want to take advantage of in our deck. All right, next up, I'm gonna go through these a little quicker because these aren't exclusive cards. These are cards you can get by buying boosters, but it doesn't make them any less powerful by any means, especially this next card, and that is we get 4 of Newfound Power Son Gohan. If you guys aren't familiar with these type of card, this is essentially the green Kaba that has critical instead of double strike. It says 1 drop, 1 green, 5,000 power, Newfound Power Son Gohan. When this card attacks, you may choose 1 card in your life and add it to your hand. If you do so, this card gains plus 10,000 power and critical, which is insane. So what critical does for your new players is that traditionally in this game, whenever you attack your opponent and you deal damage, they take that card and they put it in their hand. With critical, whenever the critical card deals damage, they take that card and they discard it instead. So it's a very powerful way to apply early pressure on your opponent, because traditionally the problem with aggro has always been the earlier you attack your opponent, the more cards you give them in your hand, and critical kind of takes away that upside, or I guess that downside of aggro. Now the cool thing about this card that I like a lot is it's a great way to awaken. It's a great awakening tool. Traditionally with Kaba, you don't really want to use Kaba early in the game because you're giving your opponent 2 cards at that point. With this, you're awakening yourself, you're applying pressure, and you're taking away a card in their hand at worst, and then at best maybe multiple critical cards from their life if you use like Champa or something. It's just this card is much better used at the beginning of the game. Again, where Kaba is much better used at the end of the game. I like this card a lot. The problem I have with this card in the deck though is it doesn't really fit our Namekian Bond theme, and we already have a way to awaken with the last card we talked about, which was our Sonel. Man, I am so bad at these people's names. I like this card a lot. I think that again, a great addition to the starter because this card is going to be a staple for any kind of mono green deck or any deck that wants to self-awaken. So definitely great card. I just don't know if it really fits this theme, but that's just my opinion. I think you have a much better aggressive Namekians you can take advantage of in the sets instead of using the Gohan. Also, something else to remember, guys, I just want to clarify this really quick. I'm so sorry I'm taking so much time talking about these cards. I just love them all so much. This is actually a Gohan Youth down here, and so you can't search this out with the 2-drop Piccolo either. This is an Adolescence. If it was an Adolescence, I would get it. It would like kind of fit that theme. But the fact that it's not an Adolescence and the fact that it, I don't think it really fits our Bond theme is a little questionable to me to the addition. Okay, so next up we have 4 Power Barrier Piccolo. Now this is simply just a 2-drop 15,000 attacker with barrier. Again, it has all the stuff that you would think of that you would need. It has the Namekian, which is really important in the deck. It doesn't have God. It's not a God, so I guess this takes place maybe before he becomes a god in the Dragon Ball Saga. But it does have barrier. That's really important when we have our Namekian Bond strategy, because this card can't be removed by any, it can't be targeted. So it's really important. Your opponent cannot remove this unless you attack with it, or they have a way to attack it with another card. But yeah, just a really important piece to this Namekian based strategy. I'm not a huge fan of this card, I'll be honest with you guys. It's just a 2-drop 15k barrier. I don't think it brings enough to your deck to pay for. But if you're going for that Namekian strategy, this is a good addition because you can guarantee to get up to those more powerful Bond 3s that we've seen earlier in the deck. Okay, next up we have this card. I actually think is really cool. A lot of people talk, kind of negatively about this card, but I actually think it's really neat. This is Gift of Power Guru. Now, this is a Namekian, which is important. It does fit our strategy, but it's a 1-drop active main once per turn. Choose one of your battle cards, and it gains plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. Now this is a pretty cool card. I'll be honest with you guys, because what it does is it has this buffing ability that you can use once per turn during your main phase. It says again, choose one of your battle cards and it gains plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. This isn't just Namekians. This is any card. So you can turn these 15,000 attackers up to 20. You can take the Gohan we just showed and turn him into a 20k critical on turn 2. It's just very powerful, very versatile card, and it does this effect without ever having to, rest or turn sideways where your opponent can pressure it. It can just literally sit there and do that as long as your opponent doesn't have some way to KO it with a card effect. This card is going to stay in, it's going to activate our bond ability, and it's also going to strengthen our battle card. So it's a win-win. I actually really, really love this card. Also, if you draft, this card's really cool in draft as well. Okay, next up is our little searcher here. And these guys are really important, guys. 4 of these. This is Kind-Hearted Namekian Dende. And this is a really cool card. Again, these are necessary in almost any deck you build. These are, I call them the one-drop searchers. What these do is almost every archetype has these type of effects. And this is auto, when you play this card, look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 Namekian and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Really, really cool card. Like I said, you play this card out, you look at the top 3, you could choose another Namekian. Almost your entire deck is full of Namekians, so it's very unlikely that you're going to miss with this ability or you're going to hit something that's not Namekian. And so this is just a 1-cost card that's going to get you another card. Really, really cool. Okay. Next up, we have 4... Oh man, this guy again. Here he comes again. 4 2-drop Namekian duo Sinella. Man, I think I've said his name different every time I've said it, and it's been wrong every time, I'm sure. Maybe if I just keep saying different stuff, I'll eventually get it right. So this is a 2-drop, 1 green, 12,000 power. Now this is your super combo. And if you guys aren't aware of what super combo is, this is a card that you can only run 4 of in your deck, so this is going to be the one. And every deck runs 4 super combos. There is not a deck that doesn't run more, 4. The card is probably one of the best cards in your deck. It's very defensive. It's very aggressive. It can adapt to the situation you need it in. And what these cards do is they have 0+0 combo power here, which might not seem very good. And to be honest, it isn't. But what's really cool is when this auto triggers, and it says when you combo with this card, if your leader card is green Namekian. So if we have a Piccolo, for example. In your life is at 5 or less, draw 1 card, and this card gains plus 10,000 combo power for the duration of the turn. That's awesome. So this turns this card from a 0+0 to a free 0+10,000, and you get to draw a card, so it replaces itself. Like I said, these super combos are insane. There's so many of them out now. There's ones for different archetypes, different leaders, but these cards are absolutely necessary in your deck. You need to make sure that if you build a deck, you have at least 4 of these. Something I do want to point out is the wording's a little confusing in these. I get asked this a lot, so I want to kind of clear that up. And that is down here where it says, let me see, I'm find it here. And this card gains plus 10,000 power. It's actually talking about this card. So it's actually talking about the super combo. The super combo gets plus 10,000 power up here. It's not talking about this card. A lot of people think that when they super combo, the Piccolo would get, he would get 20,000 power for the rest of the turn. That's not how that works. It's only this card, the super combo. Like I said, a little tricky wording, but something to remember. Again, this is awesome. Most super combos only work when you're at 4 or less life. This is one that works at 5 or less life, which makes it very good. And like I said, this is a great addition to the deck and something you definitely want to get your hands on because it's also going to work if there's any future Namekians too. If they release other Namekians like a Dende leader or something, you can use that card for that as well. Okay, our boy. Alrighty, so man, I just realized that some of these cards in here I was hoping the names got easier, but I think the names are actually getting harder here. Okay, so the Namekian duo Perenna. This guy's actually, if I think this guy's right, let me look. I think it's Universe 6, right? Yeah, this is one of the Universe 6 Namekians. If you guys haven't watched the Tournament of Power saga, it is amazing. But this is one of the Namekians from that. 2 cost, 1 green, 10,000 power. Active main once per turn. Choose 1 Namekian from your hand and place it under this card. Draw 1 card, and this card gains plus 10,000 power and critical for the duration of the turn. Now, what's really neat about this card is it's a 2-drop that can be a 20,000 critical. So you combine this with your Gohan that you have in here. I'll go ahead and pop him out again. You combine this with your Gohan. You have a lot of early critical pressure in the deck, which is really cool. That's very, very powerful. Now, what I really like about this card though is a lot of times in this deck, I feel like you're gonna get in situations where you have some kind of bad cards in your hand. I'm gonna say bad cards, but cards that aren't good in the current situation you're in. So for example, you might have, some extra, Man, where's he at? Come on, Guru. There you are. So you might have some extra Guru in your hand, you know, and you're like, man, I really want to go for the kill. You can just put this card under, you know, Piranha here, and he's going to get plus 10,000 power and critical for the duration of the turn. So you're turning a 5,000 combo card into a 10,000 buff, which is insane. I mean, it was a great value. Plus, you draw a card from it. So that's just, I mean, it's value all around, and it's a good way to get, you know, to make use of some of these cards that might be weaker later in the game. So I actually really, really like this card. He's also helps you with Bond. The problem though is if you attack with him, chances are he is going to die. So you're going to probably only get one attack with him, but that one attack is going to be very, very powerful. This seems like this is going to be, you know, more of a either really super early aggression, or you're going to save it till later in the game and try to close the game out with him. Very, very cool card. Okay, next up we have 2 Dark Vessel Tambourine. I think that's right. This is just a 2 cost, 2 green, 15,000 attacker. The 2 green doesn't really matter that much because, you know, we have, you know, it's a mono green deck, so we don't really care too much about that. Normally, the 2-drop, 2 green would have to do something amazing because that's a huge restriction. But in this deck, everything's green, so it's fine. It's just a 2-drop, 15k critical. Again, just more critical for the deck. Not really too much to say about this card. Oh, yeah, by the way, this isn't a Namekian, so it won't work with your Bond, which is something to remember. If you guys do buy this deck, I would recommend replacing this card and some of these other cards I'm about to talk about with some of the Namekians from the set, which I'll talk about in a bit. Okay, next up, we have Dark Vessel Symbol. Again, just 1-drop blocker. Again, blockers have gotten even better in this in the current format, in the current meta, set 4 meta. So, you know, this is no exception. Just awesome, awesome card. Well, I would say awesome card. I kind of maybe over-exaggerate that just a little bit. It's a good blocker for this deck, but there are much better blockers available to you once you explore the set 4 Colossal Warfare and past sets. But in this starter deck, you'll probably use that card quite a bit. All right, next up, Dark Vessel. If I say is that right? Oh, anyway, so Dark Vessel Drum, plus 10,000 power, just 1 cost, 10,000 power. Again, not a Namekian. You're not going to get much use out of this guy. I just recommend replacing this with any of the new Namekians from set 4 or any of the blue Piccolos from previous sets. Just not going to get a lot of value out of it. Next up is 4 Planet Namekian, or Planet Namek. Man, that's okay. This is gonna be a long video here. Okay, so one cost field card. If you guys aren't familiar with how field cards work, essentially once you play these cards out, they stay out. They're just a persistent effect that stays out and buffs your leader, or, you know, does its effect. But anytime you play another field card, this field card goes away. So if you want to, you know, if you play this field card out and you play another Planet Namek out, this will go away and this will come out. Now, while that's important, so essentially you can only have 1 field card out at a time. Not any deck that I know of runs multiple different field cards, but why it's important is we'll get into it in just a second. But its ability says active main once per turn, 1 green. Choose 1 card in your hand and place it in your drop area. Look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 Namekian with an energy cost of 2 or less, mug them, and put it into play, then shuffle your deck. This card's insane value, guys, because this allows you to continue to play out Namekians for free. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, for 1 energy, but it's still, you know, you get a, play 1 energy, you get a look at, 5 cards top your deck and put a Namekian out there that costs 2 or less. Now this deck does run a lot of 2-drop Namekians. It runs, I think, maybe 4. I think in general, I think maybe 4 different ones. Let me check. I don't want to tell you guys wrong. There's the 2-drop Piccolo here that will work off of this. And by the way, if you play this out with that effect, you would actually play this Piccolo out, and then this effect would trigger, and you would go get a Gohan. So it's just even more value, which is insane. So it plays this Namekian, the 2-drop. It also plays the Barrier Piccolo, which is great. So you get to play this out, for only 1, and it has barrier, so it's going to protect itself. And I thought it had the one oh, he's a 3-drop. Okay, but also Guru works as well because he's a 1-drop Namekian, and so all your 1-drops work too. There's a lot of targets in this. Your Dende's hit. Same thing with the other Piccolo. If you hit this, it does work. So you can hit this off, and then after didn't do its effect, which is really powerful. But one play I want to talk about just a little bit is that this play actually works too. which is your super combo. And so, like, traditionally, you don't want to ever play your super combos out as a battle card. But what you can do is if you're in a pinch, you're like, man, I really need to kill my opponent. I have to get him, you know, I have to kill him this turn, but I need a super combo to do so. You can play 1 energy, and then if you do get this card off the top, you can then combo with it from the battlefield and still get its effect. So you get 10,000 and draw the card. So again, just another you know, scenario. It might not happen very often, but it's still a scenario that might happen. And then finally, you're going to get your Prina as well. So I think it was 4, but yeah. So yeah, you know, very versatile card. Now, the reason why the multiple field card thing is important, I want to talk about this just really quickly, is that you can play this Platinum Namek out for 1, right? You can use its ability, or if you had it out the previous turn, you can use its ability, and then after you've used its ability, you can play out another copy. This will go to your drop area, but then you can use this effect again, because it is only once per turn, but it's once per turn per card. So, you know, having multiple in the deck might seem like a waste that you only have 1 out at a time, but remember that you can overwrite them and use the other ones multiple times. So, okay, and then the last card in the deck is your 4 of Sacrifice, guys. This card's pretty neat. This is the new counterattack cards that came out in Colossal Warfare. There's one for every color, and it's very, very cool. This is counterattack permanent. If your leader card is Namekian, when you activate this card's counter, you may choose 1 card from your life and add it to your hand. If you do so, you may activate the card's counter without paying its energy cost. So yeah, just a really cool cheap counter. It also helps you awaken. So with this and your blockers, you do have a little bit of defense built up in the deck, which is really cool. But the great thing about this is for an aggressive deck, which is what this deck is built to be, is being a little bit more aggressive, is it's really neat that you have a way to have free negates. One of the big problems with aggressive decks running negates is it always feels weird because you don't want to use your energy defensively. You want to use all of your energy offensively. And with Sacrifice, you can still do that. You can play out all your Namekians, be really aggressive, and then when they try to attack your Namekians, especially your powerful ones like your dude, I can't say his name, the critical one. Let me get him out here. Yeah, this guy right here, Prina. If you want to play him out like we talked about, you can attack with him and then, you know, get his effects. And then if they try to kill him, you can use Sacrifice to protect him. You're still netting the cards, you're not losing anything. And the next turn, you can, you know, attack again with them. So very, very important. Remember, guys, that as an aggressive deck, you want to be as aggressive as possible. It's right there in the name. Okay, all right. So that's it for the Guardians of Namekians. I'm sorry, the Guardian and the Namekians. Great starter deck, guys, and definitely check that out. Okay, so now we're going to move into. Oh, real quick before I move on, I want to post a couple cards here underneath the mats to help you guys out on what I would replace with or what I would start looking for if I wanted to replace cards in this deck. Some of the cards are really important though, or a lot of the blue Piccolos. I would really try to turn this deck into a blue-green deck. I think you're going to have a lot more success with it. And a lot of the new Piccolos have barriers, so you're going to be able to get that bond quicker. Also, there's a new Piccolo that came out in this set, which is the Bond 2. You can KO something every turn. Very powerful Piccolo as well. Like I said, I'll have him popped up as well. And then the BCC Piccolo is another very important card. Now it does cost 3 blue, which is very steep. But like I said, you can work with some of the other cards and make that you know, pretty reasonable. There's also Neld and Meki and Ace, which if you want to keep to the aggressive theme of this deck, is another good inclusion as well. So yeah, there's definitely 2 different ways you can move this deck. You can move it into a more controlling deck, and you can definitely keep that aggressive theme as well. So all right. So guys, Colossal Warfare booster packs, here we go. We have 5 packs to open. We're going to open them up pretty quickly here because this video is already pretty long, but I just love talking about these cards, you guys. I love talking about these cards. This new set's super exciting. One thing I do want to point out, guys, something really cool with this new set is, so here's a leader card. All right, from the new set. This is how it works. This is a leader card. Okay, that's pretty neat. That's really neat. But something they released with this new set is the big leader cards. And look at this guy. Look how big this card is. It is so cool. There's 7 total, so every time you buy a box, there's going to be one of these in your box. It is super neat. I'm sorry, it's like destroying my camera. It's so big. But you can see, look how cool this is. I mean, it's even foiled in the back. It just looks so cool. So definitely, you know, pick you up a box. Try to get these big leaders. They are so neat. And that is exclusive with the Colossal Warfare. That's like the new thing that you can get for Open the Door. Actually, I'll just show you the comparison right here. I forgot I have like you know, 2 cameras here. But look at that. It's so cool. Little baby leader, big daddy leader right here. So that's really cool. Okay, so let's tear into these packs, guys. Please give me your energy. I'm gonna need it. I'm telling you, I am terrible at opening packs. But we're gonna start with our first pack here. Here he is. All right, so let's open this bad boy up. Let's see what we get. Come on, Bandai. Come on, send me something. Seems something good. All right, so speaking of Bond, here we go. We have Kami the Watcher, which is another Bond card. Permanent Bond. I want to take a little bit of time and talk about these cards, guys. I just like doing it. I love being as informative as possible, and I just really want to do that for these cards. So anyway, so 3/1 green, Permanent Bond 2. This costs 2 less if you meet the bond restriction, which is 2 Namekian. So this actually only costs 1 when you play this card. Draw 1 card. Really, really neat. This can be a good replacement for a lot of cards in that deck that we just talked about. Mainly your vanilla guys back here. Mainly these guys. So these like these drum guys and symbol guys. But this is just a really, really cool card. It is a common. I'm sorry, an uncommon. So it might be a little hard to get your hands on it, but still really, really neat. Next is 10 times Kamehameha. This is actually a really neat card. Something that's really cool they did with this set as well is it has active battle. So this is like a Sensu Bean effect. You can use it during your combo step. That's the active battle timing. It says if your leader is Goku lineage with Son Goku, so your leader has to be Goku lineage, but also has to be Son Goku. And it says, it says in its character name, it gains plus. Oh, camera's messed up a little bit there. Okay, so it gains plus 15,000 power and double strike. So this is actually a really, really cool ability. You can use it defensively by just giving your leader plus 15,000 power, which on itself isn't insane. Just paying 1 energy to give your leader plus 15,000 power in this aggressive format's great. But you can also use it offensively on your turn by giving it plus 15,000 power and double strike. It's just great. Great, great card. And I love that they're making these cards. I would like to see some more of these cards come out for past leaders, like Hit, Beerus, Champa, those type of leaders, and making them better going into future sets. But I think this card is really, really cool. I'm not sure what's up with the camera. All right, guys, sorry about that. The camera kind of messed up a little bit. I think what it was the sharpness of the camera. I set the sharpness of the camera too high, and that's why I was glitching out. Little tip for you, if you ever use OBS or any of these webcams, don't make the sharpness too much because apparently it bugs out the camera. So that's my bad. Anyway, so we finish up Kamehameha. We'll move on to the next card. Next up, we have Hoi, Emissary of Flame. Now, this is your super combo for your Phantom Demon cards, which there's only one Phantom Demon leader right now, but this super combo is insane. We actually seen this type of super combo come back up in the Ultimate box, which is coming out here pretty soon. And it's just such a powerful effect. Let's talk about it. It says, when you combo with this card, if your leader card is a Phantom Demon and your life is at 4 or less, you may place 1 card from your hand in your drop area. If you do so, draw 2 cards. Man, it's nuts. And this card gains plus 10,000 combo power for the duration of your turn. What's really important with this card is to remember is that it just says, discard 1 card. It can be any card. So, if you have a card that you're not, you don't need in that situation, maybe if you're playing like Objection, for example, a card that's very good on turn 2, maybe 3, but gets much worse when you draw them, later in the game. This card can just filter that card. You can just discard it, draw 2 cards, you replace it, you draw a new card. Really, really neat effect. Like I said, currently you can only use this card with Harudigan, but still just one of the best super combos in the game. Great, great card. Next up, we have the Legendary Flute. This card, great. One of the best cards in the set. Easily, the 0 cost, the Legendary Flute. Active main, if your leader card is blue, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 3 or less and return it to their hand. Return it to its owner's hand. If that card was your own battle card, draw 1 card. Now, if that card was your own, is going to be the effect we talk a lot about with this card, because it is the most powerful effect that this card can do. Being able to bounce your cards is very, very powerful. Example I'll use from the starter deck, and example that we're going to see a lot, is where people will play, these like 1-drop cards, right? They'll play this out. Let's say they're playing Soul Striker Goku, right? You start with 2 energy. Let's say you get 2 green energy off the start. You play out Newfound Power Son Gohan. You attack with them. You take the life. He gets critical. After the attack, you use Flute, right? You bounce him to your hand, you draw a card, you just tap your other energy, play him out again, and you use his ability again. You attack, gets another 10,000, take a life, and then after that, you awaken. You use your SS3 Goku, you awaken, you draw your 2 cards, you ready your energy at the end of the turn. Just very, very powerful, and any blue leader can really abuse that. It does, if something I want to talk about with this card too, is it does have to be 3 or less. The card you bounce back to your hand, it does have to be 3 or less. I've seen too many people try to bounce Zeno with this card. They've tried to bounce, bigger threats, which would be really cool, but it does have to be 3 or less. But that's okay, because a lot of the cards we want to abuse are 3 or less, so it's fine. This card is a big reason why the format has sped up. It's let blue decks become very aggressive, using Kabas and this Gohan and the Trunks as well, which I'm sure hopefully we open and we can talk about. Just very, very powerful card. And also, guys, remember, you can bounce your opponent's cards. I cannot stress that enough. If they have a pesky blocker in the way, you can bounce it and then get through. Just very, very powerful, guys. This, in conjunction with the Trunks combo card that readies energy and Sensu Bean, it just really allows you to keep playing the card that you bounce multiple times if you draw multiple flutes, which you have a good chance to draw multiple flutes, because a lot of the cards you bounce draw you cards through an effect, plus this card draws you a card, so very easy to do. Okay, next up we have Head Honcho Metamachi. Cool. So this is a 2-cost 10,000 auto. When you play this card, if your leader card is Slug Army, play 1 meta token. And I think it says the meta tokens are, they have 5,000 combo power and 5,000 power. So, yeah, neat. I don't think this card's going to see that much play. I always hate to say that. Something else to talk about, though, is the Ultimate box that's coming out soon. Will have tokens in it. So, that's great. If you do want to play this card, you'll have tokens in the Ultimate box. Next up, we have Destiny's Solace Chi-Chi. Auto, when you play this card, look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 Goku's lineage from among them and add it to your hand. Then shuffle your deck. Cool. This is your searcher for the lineage deck, the Goku's lineage deck. We'll talk about that. I'm sure we'll open up a swap card. We'll talk about swap. Hopefully we open up a Dark Overrealm card too, so I can talk about that as well. There's a pretty good chance we'll do that, though, out of 5 packs, though. Also, guys, it's raining so hard. If you guys can hear that, I apologize. But yeah, Chi-Chi, really good in the swap decks and the Goku's lineage decks. If you want to run one of those, run one of those types of decks. Here's this is again the searcher that we always talk about. Same thing in the Namekian deck. Same thing for the Goku's lineage deck. Next up, we have Umbral Invitation Toa. This is, actually Dark Overrealm. So Dark Overrealm is a new type of Overrealm that is very cool. I've seen a lot of players kind of mess it up. They don't quite understand how it works. So I do want to talk about it here for just a second. Big surprise. I'm going to keep talking. Dark Overrealm 4-1. So the way Dark Overrealm works is it works just like Overrealm. So it's the same thing. It works the exact same way. The difference is that the number here, the 4, that is telling you how many black cards have to be in your drop area. Okay, so you have to have 4 cards, at least 4 cards in your drop area, and those cards have to be black. So that's a downside to it, right? That's much harder to do. But the upside is that once you play this card, it doesn't get warped at the end of the turn. So this card actually stays out forever. It's actually just like playing it. Your entire drop area gets warped just like with the other Overrealm. Just remember, the only difference is that the number is how many black cards you have to get away, and then the card stays. So a very powerful effect, but a huge restriction. So this Overrealm in particular costs 1, so it still costs 1 energy, and you have to have 4 cards. And then it says, auto, when you play this card, choose up to 1 of your battle cards in your opponent's battle area with an energy cost of 3 or less, and gain control of it. Guys, this effect is really, really powerful. The leader we talked about, that showed you guys the difference between the two, the Megra here, he's going to be the one that's going to really take advantage of Dark Overrealm cards. In fact, on the back side, he gets a new keyword called Wormhole, and what this does is this actually allows you to use Overrealm and Dark Overrealm twice in a turn instead of just once a turn. It is, though, something I want to clarify. You can either Overrealm twice or Dark Overrealm twice, or do 1 Overrealm and 1 Dark Overrealm. The wording's a little tricky, but you can do each of them twice, or each of them once each, or sorry, each of them twice was wrong. You can do one of them twice, or the other one twice, or each of them once, but you can't do them both 2 times. You can't do it 4 times. You can only do it twice. But this leader can really take advantage of cards like this with the kind of slow, fast format we have right now. A lot of people are playing 1-cost cards, 2-cost cards, 3-cost cards, and this card gets them all. So it's really, really powerful, and you can really get a lot of value out of this card. Next up is Time's Choice Supreme Kai of Time. Now this is time, is very similar to Time Patrol Trunks. Oh, I moved the camera. My bad. So this is very similar to the Time Patrol Trunks. And what I want to talk about is really why this card is different and why this card is going to be better for some decks and worse for others. So we'll talk about it real quick. So this is a Overwhelm 3. So you have to have at least 3 cards in your drop area, and then you put them in the warp once you do it. And it says, auto, when you play this card using Overwhelm, look it up to the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 battle card from among them and add it to your hand, then place the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. Now, you know, Time Patrol Trunks, you look at the top 2, you choose 1. What's really cool about this card, though, is you look at the top 3. So, you know, on the surface, this card could look like it's just better. I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, this is just the better Time Patrol Trunks. And that's not true. And there's a couple reasons why. There are, you know, Time Patrol Trunks, first of all, is a Trunks. So there's a lot of EX, or I'm sorry, Xeno Evolve cards that evolve off of Trunks. So that's really important to remember. But the most important thing is that this card only looks for battle cards. You can only get a battle card off this card, while Trunks, you can get any card. So if you look, you know, if you need a counter, or, you know, you pop up, you see a counter, you can take it. You know, with this, you couldn't because it's not a battle card. So that's the 2 big differences. She is a god, though, so she is searchable off of, like, Gawasu and those type of things as well. So, you know, she does have her advantages, too. They're both great cards. Some cards will use the Time's Choice Supreme Kai. Others will use Time Patrol Trunks. Both great cards. And this is such a great addition to this set. Make sure you get your play set of this card. Next up, we have Kind-Hearted Namekian Dende. Not going to spend too much time on this card because he's in the starter deck, but he looks really cool. Next up, Blaze of Glory Sun Gohan Auto. When you attack or combo with this card, if your leader card is red, place up to 3 cards on the top of your deck in the drop area. Now, this is a cycle of cards that we've seen in this set, which is every color gets access to this card, which is if you play this card, I'm sorry, if you attack with this card or combo with the card, you can just, you know, take the top 3 cards of your deck, put them in the drop. This is primarily to fuel Overwhelm, but it could be used in some other, you know, very niche situations where, you know, if you're playing like, you know, a card that can get a card back from the drop area, you might want to play these cards to, you know, give you better selection. But primarily, you're going to use these in an Overwhelm, you know, focused deck. And honestly, I just don't see the use of this card yet. But, you know, in future sets, we might see that. But currently, I don't think this is worth a card slot in your deck. Next up, we get Naked Kakarot, little baby Kakarot. Look at him shining there. Actually, super cool card. The foil of this card actually looks really cool. First of all, the art on these cards is all insane. All right, in our card, we got Dark Control Demon God Demegra. There he is, boys. Check it out. That's our rare. Foil looks really cool. Look how cool that looks. Yeah, Dark Overwhelm 4. So again, you have to have 4 black cards in your drop area. For 3 energy, when this card attacks your opponent, choose 1 card in their hand and send it to their warp. If that card was a battle card, combo with it in your combo area. Really, really powerful effect, guys. This essentially, every time this card attacks, your opponent discards a card. Now, it's important to remember is that it says you choose a battle card. You don't get to look at their hand. That gets confused a lot with the way it's said. Essentially, they just, you know, they have their hand out, and, you know, I'm just gonna get some cards here, but, you know, they have their hand out like, you know, like this, right? And you would just say, okay, I choose this card, and they would just reveal the card and say, oh, it's, you know, this dude, it's a battle card, so you get a combo with it. So that's how it works. I know it's a little tricky, but you don't get to look at their hand. The effect is really, really powerful. Again, very stronger than Mega decks. I think other decks are going to have a hard time getting 4 black cards in their drop area. Obviously, the combo cards we saw, this like red combo card, this Gohan, could help with that. But again, guys, I just really feel like this card's a trap. You know, the Gohan, the mill cards, but this effect is very powerful. Could be a great sideboard card in some other decks that are, you know, in like maybe an aggro mirror, but really, really cool. But I think most of the time Tawa is probably going to be better. You can do the same thing with Tawa, and it only costs 1 energy. Okay, so that's our rare. I'm going to set the rare over here. We're going to get into our next pack. The camera's doing great now. All right, so we're going to go to our next pack here. We're going to open up one of these baby 8 packs here, see what we get. That pack actually wasn't bad. We got some really, really good cards in that pack. A lot of really good commons and uncommons, which was awesome. Didn't get a super rare, unfortunately, but that's okay. We have quite a few packs to go. All right. Let's get this stuff over here. We'll go through these. Sorry, guys. I'll try to go a little bit quicker. Like I said, I just love talking about these cards with you guys. I haven't had a chance to do the review video with this set, so I'm just like taking so much fun, you know, so much time to talk about these cards. Okay, Gravy, Lightning's Might. This is a 3-cost, 20,000 attacker. Dark Overwhelm 2 for 2 energy, and that's it. So you have to have 2 black cards. You pay 2. You play this guy out for 1 cheaper. So that's essentially this guy's situation. Is that, you know, if you Dark Overwhelm him, you spend 1 less energy to play him. Not very exciting, honestly. There's just better, you know, cards that are more, you know, cost efficient. But a 2-cost 20,000 attacker, that's pretty good. Probably the Demegra, you know, aggro deck might want to use something like this. Maybe still seems a little loose. I'm not a huge fan of this card. Next up, we have Vow Revenge. Active main if your leader card is a red machine mutant. This means this can work with Dr. Disrespect too, boys. Dr. Mew. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, and it loses minus 15,000 power for the duration of the turn. Really cool effect. It's just a zero cost minus 15,000 card. It's a good kill card. Obviously, you know, the downside being that a lot of cards do this attached to a battle card, which is you know, it helps you build your board presence. It helps you win the game. This card is just a kill card for 0. Again, very powerful, but not as good as you know, as if it was attached to a battle card. They made up for that by making this cost 0 though, so that's really neat. But remember, you can only use this in active main, so you cannot use this during battle. If you could use this during like a Sensu Bean turn, it could be really devastating to your opponent, but you can't. But still, a very average card. I can't imagine the Machine Mutant deck running these main board, but could be a really good sideboard card for those decks. So yeah. Next up, we have Special Beam Cannon. Such a cool card. This is, again, just like the 10 times Kamehameha card we saw before. This might be one of the best ones, though. It says Active Battle. If your leader card is Piccolo, it gains plus 10,000 power for the duration of the battle. Then choose up to 1 card in your opponent's hand and place it in the drop area. Again, very similar to what we talked about with the Mega card. You know, you just pick a card out of their hand, you look at their hand, you just pick one of the cards, they discard it, plus your guy gets plus 10,000 power. It doesn't have to be on your turn. It only works for the duration of the battle, however, but it's really cool. It can save you, plus make them discard a card. Just a great addition. I cannot say this enough, I love you know, these cards. I think they're so cool. I like leader-specific cards. Let me try to fix these. Sorry, guys, it's like being weird. But yeah, I love these leader-specific cards. I think they're so cool. And speaking of leader-specific card, here we go. Instant Transmission. I actually love the art on this card too. Counterattack, negate the attack. Permanent if your leader card is Goku's Lineage. When you activated the card's counter, you may choose 1 card in your life and add it to your hand. If you do so, you may activate the card's counter without paying its energy cost. Sick. This is just your free counter for the Goku's Lineage. We saw the Sacrifice card in the starter deck. This is just that version. Again, I think these are really cool counters for aggressive decks, and that's where I think they'll see the most play, is whenever you can tap out and still counter is so neat. But the downside, again, from taking the life is huge in this format, guys, because the format is so quick. Next up, we have Adonic Warrior Angelia. This is one of the Slug Armies bond people. It's just a 3-cost 15k critical, which is very powerful, and then says auto bond 2 for Slug's Army. Again, we went over bond in the starter deck review. It says when this card attacks, if your leader card is Slug's Army, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and places it into their drop area. This is really cool because the attack itself can make them, you know, just attacking for 15k critical. Opponents always respond to that, right? If they let it hit them, they lose a card. They lose a card off the attack. So at best, I'm sorry, at worst, you know, you're going to get 2 cards out of their hand. If they use a card to stop this, that's a card. If you deal damage, that's another card. When it attacks, that's a card. So just a really cool effect. And this card, you know, I think is going to be staple for the Slug Army archetype of decks. Just a great card. I hate that it costs 3. That is very steep in our current format for something. But like we talked about in the starter deck review, it does do something, right? It's a 3-cost with critical that does something. So it is, it's more easily justifiable to play in our deck. Next up, we have Deadly Golden Great Ape Son Goku. Look how cool this card is. Look how awesome this art is. And we finally get to talk about Swap. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to pop this up. We'll talk a little bit about Swap. Swap 5, 1 yellow. So the way Swap works, guys, and I really want to cover this, is it's one of the 3 new mechanics. We talked about Dark Overwhelm, we talked about Bond, and now we're on to Swap. This is a sick mechanic. Swap 5, 1 yellow. So it says Goku's Lineage with an energy cost 5, and what Swap does is it allows you to play the specified card from your hand, then return this card to your hand. So what this lets you do is it lets you, for 1 yellow, so if this card's in play, for 1 yellow, you can play a 5-cost Goku's Lineage card from your hand, and then and then you put this card back in your hand. So actually reveal the next card. Sorry about that. But that's actually awesome. So that's really, really cool. And it lets you normally, this is a little bit of a fringe case. But normally this number, this swap number here, is larger than the card is, right? So normally it is like, swap, 6 for a 5-drop, so you can play out the 5-drop, pay 1, then play a 6-drop for free, right? And it's, you can do this after you attack. So you can actually attack with play the card, attack, swap, play the card back out. It's just insane. I mean, just such a cool keyword. It reminds me a lot of ninjutsu from Magic. Just such a cool ability, and the deck is really, really fun to play as well. I'm sure we'll see other swap cards, so I can show that. That's the main thing you guys need to realize about swap, is that you just take the card and you just play it out with that number. So this would let you play another 5-drop out. Okay, permanent. You may not play this card from any area unless your leader card is Son Goku GT. Auto, when you play this card, choose up to 1 Goku's Lineage with an energy cost of 5 or less. Other than Deadly Golden Great Ape Son Goku from your deck, and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Something to remember about swap, guys, is that swap only works, like, it has to be this number, right? So it can't be, you can't swap, you can't use swap 5 and play like a 3-drop, right? It has to be 5. It has to be this number. And so the cool thing about this card is you can only play it with the Goku leader, but what's really neat with it is that it lets you play this out, you attack, and then after that, you can go get another 5-drop and then swap it and play that other 5-drop. Again, you can't swap it with itself, but you can swap it with a new one, which is really cool. So it just replaces itself, plus bounces back to your hand. Really, really, really neat card. Okay, next up is Time Control Krona. Now, I'm actually extremely excited that I pulled one of these cards. I really, really want to talk about this card. I almost made a video just about this card, but this card is really, really neat. And I guess it actually has a new keyword on it too. I guess, I didn't realize exactly how many new keywords are in this set, but it's Deflect. So real fast, this is a 1-cost 3,000 power card with Deflect. It says this card isn't affected by counterplay skills. Now, there isn't a lot of counterplay play skills in our game. There's only 3: Ectoplasm from this set, and then Crusher Ball and Cold Bloodlust. So this card can't be affected by those cards. Really cool keyword. I know a lot of people hate that because they think that they love counterplay cards. They want counterplay cards to be more. They want there to be more of them in the game. But counterplay cards are also very scary to put in a game because those cards can be extremely powerful. Obviously, Cold Bloodlust being one of the most powerful cards in our game. So the fact Bandai added Deflect to the game means that they now have the ability to add more like stronger counterplay cards because now there's a counter to those cards. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing we see Deflect, especially if you're one of those people who want to see more counterplay cards. Deflect should be a good thing for you because that means now they have the ability to do so balanced. Now it says when you play this card, draw 1 card, and your opponent may not play battle cards from their hand with the skill of cards with super combo for the duration of the game. Now that might seem a little loose. People might say, you know what, that's a little weird. What does that mean? Well, that means you can't, if you play Shigesh, which has been a card that's dominated set 3, if you play Shigesh as a super combo, you can't play a Saiyan that costs 3 or less out of your hand. You just can't do that anymore. That's not something you can do if Time Control Krona has been played. Now her effect lasts the entire game, so even if you kill her, it doesn't matter. You still can't play those cards. It's what we call a silver bullet card, which was very ambitious by them to do. But I actually like silver bullet design. I think it's fine. It's much better than banning a card, in my opinion, sometimes, and it's definitely better than than using a errata in a card. That's a different discussion for a different day. But what I'll say is this is a card when people saw this, they thought, okay, so this shuts down Shigesh. At worst, it's a colorless Boo, and Boo was insane. Boo's one of the best 1-drops in the game. This card's busted. This card's OP. Everyone's going to run it in all their decks. It's nuts. And so far we haven't seen anyone run this in their decks. In the set 4 decks we've seen currently in testing, or in the tournaments we've seen, no one has ran this card main deck. Some people have run it in sideboard, where I think that's where this card belongs. If you are playing at a locals event that plays best of 1, and that Jim and Billy play veggies, then you might want to put this main board. Otherwise, I don't imagine this card being main board too often, and I think this has actually turned out to be a pretty balanced card. Could it have been better designed? probably, but I think this is nowhere near the game ender that people thought it was going to be. And in fact, Veggies is still doing great. In one of our recruit challenges, we saw, one of our semi-pro players, Anthony Mikulev, playing Veggies on game 2. His opponent actually played a time control Corona, and he still won the game. As it turns out, Shigesh is still a super combo, so it's still really good. So I'm not gonna, I'm sorry I spent so much time on this card, but I just want to let you guys know the sky isn't falling. This card's fine. It's perfectly fine. Oh, cool. Hidden in Darkness, Minota? Okay, so it says, Hidden Darkness Minota, when this card is placed in your drop area from your hand, if your leader card is Phantom Demon, you may choose up to one Hirodogen the Wanderer from your deck and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. What's really cool about this card, guys, is it works really well with the super combo we got out of the last pack. So if you use this super combo, right, and pitch this card to the super combo, you draw 2 off this super combo, plus you get his effect. So you can still search your deck for Hirodogen. So it actually turns us into get 3 cards. So it's actually insane. Very good card. Now, I do think that this card, if you're not playing that all-in Phantom, Demon deck, it might not be worth just adding this card to your deck just to get that effect. But who knows? It might be. You know what I mean? It's going to take play testing, but it's definitely a really neat effect. I like that it plays off that discard as well. Next up, we got Dark Vassal symbol. Thank you, symbol. We only have 2 of you in the starter deck, so at least we got another one. Okay, and then here we got another Bond guy. Actually, one of my favorite art in the game. This is Swap for Goku's Lineage. So this is a good example of what I'm talking about. It also says when you combo with this card, if one of your yellow when you combo with this card, if one of your yellow battle cards is being attacked, this card gains plus 10,000 combo for the duration of the turn. This is actually a really neat effect. So if we combo with this card, I know it goes up to 15,000 for 0, but only for battle cards. So that's actually really neat. I don't imagine that we'll use this that ability too often, but it's definitely a really cool effect to see them starting to add to cards. And I think that this effect in itself will be really neat going forward. I like to see them put this on other cards, and I think this is just a really neat effect. So this is what I'm talking about. So here we see Swap 4. So we pay this card out for 3, right? And then if we play 2 energy, we can actually go get it. We can play a 4-cost card that's Goku Lineage from our hand, for free for just 2 energy. So that's a better example of how swap works. You play this 3 drop out, 1 turn. Next turn you pay 2 for a 4, and then that 4 will go to a 5, and that 5 will go to a 6, and all the way up the chain until you got these really powerful cards for cheap. Just a really, really, really neat effect. Okay, and then our next card is Minus Killzone. I mean, we're getting all the controversial cards in this pack. That's awesome. I know this video is going to be really long, but holy moly, I love it. So Minus Killzone. This is another card that's whenever this card was released, people just lost their minds. They're like, this card's broken. It's going to, cell chain's awesome. It's going to be, that's all we're going to see. But so far, the card's been pretty balanced, guys. It's a 0-cost black extra cards, which means it's free. So you just play it for free. But it does have a cost, which is that active main, send 3 cards from your drop area to your warp. Draw 1 card. And your opponent may not activate counterplay skills for the duration of the turn. Now that's awesome. So, you do have to send 3 cards from your drop area to your warp. You do get to choose those 3 cards. So that's important. Also, this doesn't take up it doesn't take up your Overwhelm for the turn either. It doesn't have Overwhelm or anything like that. So you can still use this ability and use Overwhelm in the same turn, or Dark Overwhelm. It doesn't take that effect up. But what this does is, again, it's another counterplay Silver Bullet. It's another card that's meant to not make counterplay as good. And that's good. That's important. That means, again, that they can print more powerful counterplay cards now that we have counters to those cards. Again, sideboard card at best, but a very, very, very powerful card when you're needed. Where you'll probably see this card played a lot is in cell chain decks, or any deck that might play like the hit. I don't know if you guys remember the hit combo way back in set 1, where when it comes into play, you deal 2 damage to your opponent. Those cards have always been awesome, but they've always been shut down a lot by Cold Bloodlust, and this is a way for those cards to get around it. Again, primarily going to be a sideboard card, but really cool that this card exists, and not as OP, and it doesn't make the game bad because this game exists. In fact, it's the other way around. It actually makes the game much better with a card like this in the game. All right, and we get our first SR, Saiyan Onslaught Kefla. Love this card. Actually, for me, it's my favorite SR in the sets. It's not the best SR in the sets. It's actually far from it. It's a little bit too restrictive. We'll talk about it. It's 5/2 red, And then it has Unipatora 3 red with a Caulifla and a Kale. I love both Caulifla and Kale. I think that there's such cool additions to the game. I'm sorry, to the Dragon Ball universe. Deflect, which again is your opponents can't use, like, you know, Crusher Ball or Combust against this card. Dual attack, auto. This card is played using Unipatora or attacks, draw 1 card, and this card gains plus 5,000 power for the duration of turn. If you guys follow me at all on like Twitch or anything like that, you guys know that I think dual attack is one of the best keywords in the game, maybe one of the best. It's just we don't see dual attack on a lot of cards, and the cards we do see them on are always really restrictive. However, the cool thing about this card is when you Unipatora this card, and what Unipatora means is you have to have one of each of these cards in play, and what you do is you take those 2 cards, you put them together, and then you play this card on top of it for the 3 red. But what's really cool about this card is when you play it with Unipatora, you draw a card, and it goes up to 30,000, and then you attack, right, and it goes up to 35,000, and you draw a card. And then it readies off the dual attack, and you attack again, and it goes up to 35,000, you draw another card. So if you Unipatora this card, you actually draw 3 cards off of it on the turn it comes out, which is insane. That is so cool. The problem with it, 3 red is extremely prohibitive. There are great Cauliflas and Kales. I don't think it's impossible for this card to see play. It's just this 3 red is like, ugh. It would be cool if it was like 2 red and a green or something, right? Like, it would be a little bit cooler, but still, very, very powerful card. This card can definitely put a lot of pressure on your opponent. It can also, you know, help you clean up the board if it can attack multiple threats, and it's going to give you a bunch of cards. I'm just really afraid this card might be too restrictive, though I think the card is still very good. I mean, I don't want to try to act like this is like a terrible card or anything, but compared to some of the other SRs, this card is not the best. It's my favorite, but not the best. Plus, the art looks awesome, guys. Look at that, man. She is so cool. Also, she gets her own leader card in the Ultimate Box, so go check those spoilers out, please. Okay. Guys, we were spending so much time on this pack. I'm so sorry. Okay, so next up, we're getting our 3rd pack here. We're going to open up our 3rd out of 5. See if we get something good. Thanks for that SR, by the way, Bandai. I'm happy. Also, just a random bit of trivia here. I've actually never opened up an SPR, not SPR, an ultimate card, like one of the secret rares. I never opened up a secret rare. So 10 times Kamehameha, we've seen this card before. Iron Vow Trunks, our first leader, actually. When this card attacks, draw 1 card. At the end of your turn, if all your energy is blue, choose up to 1 of your blue battle cards with an energy cost 3 or more, and up to 1 of your energy, and switch them to active mode. Pretty cool effect, definitely. And then on the back side, oh, actually he's Awakens, I'm sorry. The front side is this: when this card attacks a leader card, draw 1 card. I always forgot they put them in here backwards. Bandai, or the game, sees these cards, by the way. Like, let me, I'm going to set these up here for just a second. But because I have to flip them, I don't want to spoil the card. But Bandai sees the Awakening side of a leader card as the front side of the card. It's actually extremely confusing to me, because I always see this card, like the front of it, as the front. But this is actually considered the back of the card. So yeah, so auto, when this card attacks a leader, draw 1 card. And then when your life is at 4 or less, you may choose 2 cards in your energy and ready them. Again, really cool. We talked about this a little bit when we talked about Piccolo. This effect is actually getting much better. And then the draw 1 leader, you know, is pretty standard for these type of leaders. And then Iron Vow Trunks, when he awakens, it says when this card attacks, draw 1 card. And then at the end of your turn, if all your energy is blue, choose up to 1 of your blue battle cards with an energy cost 3 or more, and up to 1 of your energy, and switch them to active mode. This card's really neat. You know, going to be really powerful in like a draft deck if you guys are drafting this set. But as far as standard, you know, I don't see this card seeing too much play compared to Soul Striker Goku and SS3 Goku. They just do his job a little bit better. And the restriction that you have to be mono blue is a little too much currently. But we're still getting a lot of support. So you know, it's not going to kill this guy, but it definitely makes them a lot weaker when compared to the other leaders who do something similar. Okay, Vengeful Onslaught. This is the machine leader, machine mutant type of this card. It says, if your leader card is a machine mutant, choose 1 of your battle cards with 15,000 or less power and switch it to active mode. It gains plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. Really, really cool effect, guys. Again, remember, this is an active main, though, ability, and so that is the one downside with the card, though. But it says choose 1 of your battle cards with 15 or less power. So what's really cool about this is that you can use this to take advantage of cards that get an effect when they attack, which is kind of neat. Any card that readies another card could be abusable. I don't think this card is going to be one of those cards, but definitely for future cards, if we see any more Machine Mutants being printed or anything like that, any 15,000 or less cards being printed, because both Baby and Dr. Mew are great leaders in the set. So it's not it's not like we have to jump through a hoop to play a Machine Mutant leader. They're just good leaders. So, it's really going to be the second part of this that we're going to have to find a way to abuse, which honestly, I don't think it's going to take us too long to figure it out. But currently, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, and I think that, this is something that's, it's going to be probably a sideboard card at best, but really, really neat. We have Angela again. We talked about her. We have Drum. Talked about him. Baby Vengeance Unleashed. This is your Union Absorb. Choose one of your battle cards and place it under this card. If your leader card is a red Machine Mutant, choose up to one baby with an energy cost 4 or less with the same character name as the card you placed under this card, your deck, and play it on top of this card, then shuffle your deck. Guys, this card got errated, so I'm not going to talk too much about this card. It just got errated because some of this text here is incorrect. I actually think this is supposed to play off a Vegeta card, not a baby card. But definitely go check out the errata on the Bandai website to get the clarification of what this card is supposed to do. Okay, next up is Caring Mother Videl. This card is actually awesome. And this is one of the cards, when it got spoiled, I was super excited about. I've built so many cards with this deck, with this card. This is 2 cost, 1 yellow, 5,000. Active main, switch this card to rest mode, draw 1 card, and choose up to 1 of your battle cards, and it gains plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. This card's so neat. I like these types of abilities. I wish they would print more of these. I think these types of abilities have been very successful. The sets, essentially, you just take this card, you put it into active mode, you give one of your cards plus 5,000 power, and you draw a card. This card is absolutely amazing when paired with leaders like Galactic Emperor Frieza, that allows you to untap one of your cards each turn. And then this on top of Ox King, giving this card barrier, you can do some really crazy stuff and really put a lot of pressure on your opponent and get a lot of cards. So very, very cool card. Plus I love Videl. She's my favorite Saiyan Mama. Okay, next up, City Patrol Great Saiyan Man 2. Auto, when you play this card, choose up to 1 City Patrol Great Saiyan Man from your deck and add it to your hand and shuffle your deck. This card's really neat, but obviously everyone loves Saiyan Man. They love the Great Saiyan Man. They like obviously this version as well. But the problem I have with this card is there's just not enough support with this. There's just not enough support there yet. This will be a great card if we get a lot of Saiyan Man support, but for right now we don't have that. So okay. 1 Quick Dodge Sun Goten, just your 1-drop blocker, pretty standard. Nothing really important to talk about with this card. There's just better 1-cost blockers or cheap blockers. The free blockers in particular are just going to be better than this. Next up, kind of hard to Namekians Dende. I feel like we've got a Dende almost every pack. He's staying with us. Oh, cool. So this is a foil card. So, one thing that happened in Colossal Warfare and some of the other sets before that is we can get foil cards now. And this is a foil uncommon for Special Beam Cannon. Look how freaking awesome that is. Holy crap. Looks awesome. We've talked about Special Beam Cannon. I think it's the best one of these type of cards. And here's our rare for the sets, or for the pack. Oath's Power Trunks. Permanent, if Tapion is in your drop area and warp, this card gains double strike and barrier auto at the end of your turn. Switch this card to active mode. Really, really neat ability if you're playing that, that's the Phantom Demon deck or whatever. But again, I just think that Hrudigan has turned out to be just a better leader to be played on his own. Like, his effect is just nuts. But this card's pretty cool. But again, I can't imagine it seeing too much play compared to just the raw power of Hrudigan. I mean, it's just better to just play him out. I'll keep our foil here. And all right, go to pack 4. We only have 2 more packs, guys. Almost done. Okay. So our first card in the pack is going to be Dark Kamehameha. This is, again, the black card, which is the leader-specific cards. If your leader card is Mira, it gains plus 15,000 power for the duration of the battle. And if it's your turn, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost 4 or less and send it to their warp. This is actually a really, really neat card. Luckily, this is the only one of these cards, I'm pretty sure, that it has to be on your turn when you use it. I'm sorry, you can actually use it on, it says, if your leader card is Mira, it gains plus 8,000 power for the duration of the battle. But the secondary effect has to be on your turn. So it's important to remember that the plus 15,000 power can happen on your opponent's turn. But if it's your turn, you didn't get to send one of their cards that costs 4 or less to the warp. That's really cool. This is, I would say, the second best of these cards. The best one's the baby one. I hope we open it so I can talk about it. If not, I'm sorry. But this is really, really cool. The reason why they did this with this card was so you don't get that Shigesh effect where, your opponents on their turn, you know, attacks you with a card, combos up really high, and then passes to you, you know, for your combo step, and you just go, cool, I'll just kill your dude. If you could, it would be by far the best one. But this is still a great card. It's great in the sideboard. It's great for have a couple in your main board. It's a black card. It helps fuel Dark Overwhelm, which is neat. But it's also really, really great too, because it's a removal card baked into, you know, something that's could be aggressive, and it's also just in a pinch a great defensive card. So just a really, really good all-around card, and I love the design on these cards. And there he is. I was so hoping we got one of these guys so I could talk about it. Intensifying Power Trunks. This is, again, we showed the Gohan, we talked about Kaba. This is the red, you know, Gohan. It does everything Gohan does, except it's red. Now it says, again, really quickly read over it. It says, when this card attacks, you may choose one card in your life, add it to your hand. If you do so, this card gains plus 10,000 power and critical. Really, really cool. What makes this card really, really neat, and the reason why this is being primarily used over Gohan is, you know, it just works better having, you know, this and Kaba in the same color. You don't have to splash into green. But another big reason why is because this is a Trunks GT. And so if you guys are familiar with Chantak Zeno combos, this can actually be evolved onto for 2 over Chantak, because Chantak Trunks needs a Trunks GT, and it costs 2 red. So you can turn 1, play this Trunks out, and then turn 2, Chantak Zeno if you wanted. I don't really recommend that play, but it's really neat that you can do that. And so that's one reason why this card's being played so much. Again, probably one of the best uncommons in the set. I love this card, and I'm so happy I got to open one and talk to you guys about this card. Just a powerful, powerful card. There's one more card I hope. Look, there's his little brother right behind him. We talked about him too. Again, these cards, exactly the same card. One's green, one's red though. And I think because this is red, by the way, guys, this wins out. Like if I had to, you know, like rank these 2 cards, you know, this would be #1. And in fact, this is the #1 selling card currently on TCG Player. This is a great card. Okay, next up we have Adoptive Father-Son Gohan. Now, this is a really cool card because this is swap 2 Goku's lineage. So this is a 1-drop that you can swap 2, but if you guys see, there's no cost here. So that's actually really, really neat. So you can actually, you know, I'm gonna put this over here. You can actually play this guy out for 1. Right? And then swap him immediately. So you just put him into your hand and play out a 2-drop Goku's Lineage card. So that's really, really cool. And, you know, honestly, why we'll probably see this guy be played a lot. The new BCC Goten is actually Goku's Lineage. If you guys aren't familiar with that card's just insane. So you can actually play this guy out for 1, swap him out for Goten. So you can play Goten on turn 1 with this guy. So great card, going to be a staple in those swap decks. And honestly, a lot of decks will play this just because of the free 2-drop. Next up, we have Power of Friendship Pan. When you play this card, look at up to 5 cards on the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 battle card with 15,000 less power and GT in its character name and play it, then shuffle your deck. You know, I like this card, and I think this is one of those cards that's, you know, on the front side of it might look like it's really powerful. It's a really cool effect. You do get to play the card you find, which is, again, really cool. So you can play this card and, you know, find your Trunks and, you know, play your Trunks out. The problem I have with this card is, it's a 5-drop, and that you actually have to pay 5 for. There's no way to get it out cheaper. But you know, Chantak Trunks just does this ability better, I think. It still has even the same restrictions, except that Chantak doesn't have to be GT. It can play any 15,000 or less power. So that's 1 less, and you can evolve it for 2, which just already makes this card better. It has the same attack. And then if you're just trying to find a GT card in general, you know, Grand Tour GT and, you know, just a 1-drop Goku does that better too. So I think this card is probably in here for draft. I can't imagine this card getting played, you know, in any, you know, competitive level. Another flute, nice. Almost got our playset of flutes there. All right, Sneak Attack Vegeta, 3-drop 2 blue barrier. When this card attacks a leader card, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and places it on top of their deck. So this is a new type of wording that we've seen in this set as well, which is you know, you take a card, put it on top of their deck. It's really powerful to do, guys, because you know, in Magic and other card games, that effect has always been really powerful. It's a little bit different in our game, though, because you can't lock people out of the game the same way you could in those games. What I mean by that is, you know, primarily this type of effect has been used to, you know, put lands on top of opponent's deck, so they draw dead cards. You can still kind of do that with this card, but remember, with this game, almost every card is a live card in some way, which is one thing I love about this game. You know, even if you send, like, you know, a card like, you know, this, you know, on top of their deck, which would be an awesome play, by the way. If your opponent is at 1 life, right, you can attack and you can put this card back on top of their deck, right? And then if they play it out, they can't use its life, right, because they'll kill themselves. And so it's a good way to, like, to take this card out of the game and give them a card that can't get them back into the game, right? They're not drawing a card like a big, like, 5-drop or 6-drop and get it back in the game. They're just drawing this little 1-drop that doesn't really do anything for them, right? But what's really cool about this game, though, is this card still isn't dead, though, right? You can still just combo it for 5k. And so that's something to remember about this game. It's again, really good card. It has barrier. It's going to be good in Vegito decks. It's going to be good in decks that want to use disruption. Again, very good in draft. But, this guy, that effect is not as powerful in this card game as other card games. So I just want to make you guys aware of that. Bulma. Explorer Bulma, 3, 1 yellow, 10,000 power. When you play this card, place up to 2 cards on the top of your deck in your drop area, then choose up to 2 of your energy and switch it to active mode and draw 1 card. This is actually a really neat card. I think if the format was slower, this card would be a lot better. This set does have this Bulma, and it has like some other Bulmas, like evolve Bulmas and stuff that evolve off of this Bulma, which is really cool, but the format's just too slow. It's too slow. I'm sorry, the format's too fast to play the slow card like this, right? You don't want to spend 3 energy to just play 10,000 power worth of a guy out and draw a card. It's just not good enough. It does untap 2, and that's great, but this is still just not powerful enough. If it had blocker, maybe that would be cool. You could play this out, get blocker, and then draw a card. You could play something else maybe, but this is just not where you want to be currently. Ectoplasm. So this is a new counterplay card. It's a 0-cost counterplay. Choose up to 1 Herodogan if you're in your battle area. Sorry. Send it to your warp, and at the start of your turn, main phase, play that card from your warp. So this is just a way to protect your Herodogan. The Herodogan deck, it goes up the Herodogan chain, and then usually the Herodigans have a baked in this kind of ability as well. But it's also cool that you get this ability. Well, you just get to protect that Herodogan chain that you spent so much cards or resources in. You can do that, which is really, really cool. But again, I don't think the Herodogan chain is good enough to warrant building a deck around it. And I think for this card to be extremely good, that chain would have to be really good. Okay. Next, we get Raging Energy Blast Gotenks. Critical. Place this card in your drop area. Choose up to 1 each of Sun Goten and Trunks Youth from your deck and add it to your hand. Then choose up to 2 energy, switch them to active mode, then shuffle your deck. Really cool effect. I love Gotenks. Traditionally, the Gotenks cards have all been pretty good. This is probably one of the weakest Gotenks cards that they've printed in a long time. But yeah, it's really cool that you can play this card out for 4. It has critical, you can attack with it, and then it has that it has the mass sand ability kind of baked into it as well, which is really neat. So you play this card out, you attack them, and then you can kill this card and go search for a Sun Goten and Trunks Youth. Something to remember about this card, which I think is a little weird, is that it doesn't say it doesn't have any restriction on the Sun Gotens. I think that the Sun Gotens that are currently printed do say Sun Goten Youth. I could be wrong, but this is something that might be an oversight. But you can actually, it does say Trunks Youth, but it doesn't say Sun Goten Youth. So if they ever print any future or GT Sun Gotens, you could go get those as well. So that's something a little bit different. And I think Mass Saiyan does say Sun Goten Youth on it, but maybe I'm wrong. But either way, this card, again, probably isn't going to see that much play. It's cool that this is a 4-cost that lets you, set this up, and then it readies 2 of your energy. That's really neat. So essentially only costs 2. This could be a great card to play if you're going to play with the BCC Vegito, the Dash Pack Vegito. But otherwise, I just really can't see this card getting too much play. It's a little clunky, but a 20k critical, very good. Especially one that gets you, 2 cards. Okay, Dependable Mom Bulma. This is just switch this card to rest mode, draw 1 card, and then choose up to 1 of your battle cards. It gains 5,000. So this is the same thing as Videl, except it's a red card instead of a yellow card. Really, really neat card. Again, I love these cards. I think they're really, really cool. And then finally, we get Dragon Fist SS3 Son Goku. I actually freaking love this card. This is a rare. I don't think I have very many of this card. I think I only have like 1 or 2 of this card. First of all, the art's insane. We have a freaking dragon here, and we have Goku here, all SS4, looking like a beast. But this card is a 6-drop, which is, by the way, infinite. And in our current format, it's so expensive. But this card does have a couple really cool things it does. It has Barrier, Double Strike, 25k. Auto, when this card attacks, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and return it to its owner's hand. Then choose up to 2 of your energy and switch them to active mode. So you play this out for 6, you attack, and you ready 2. So you're already readying 2 energy off of this card. So it's essentially a 4-drop that you have to wait until you have 6 energy to play, which is really cool. You combine this with a leader like SS3 Goku or Soul Striker Goku, and all of a sudden you can untap 4 energy a turn every turn with this card plus Soul Striker's attack. Or with SS3 Goku, you can ready 2 and then ready 3 more. That's 5. That's insane. It's so much energy advantage. The card also has barrier, so it's really unlikely this card's going to die. You can protect it very easily at 25k. I just love this card. I think this card's really, really good. If the format slows down at all, I imagine this card being one of the best cards in the game. It ignores barrier. It's a great sideboard card. I just love the design of this card, and I love the power level of this card. I think this card is fantastic. If this was set 2, this would be in everyone's deck. So this card's just fantastic. I love this card. All right, guys, so this is our last pack. Going into the last pack here. Again, sorry it's taking so long to do this, but I've had a blast talking to you guys about these cards. Okay, so this is our last pack. Let's hope we get another SR. That might be a little too much maybe to be the wishful thinking, but I would love to open up another really exciting pack with you guys. Okay, so here we go. The last set, the last pack. Oath's Power, Tapion. Auto, when you play this card, you may choose up to 2 cards from your life, add them to your hand. If you choose to add 1 or more cards to your hand, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 5 or less and place it on top of his owner's deck. So that goes that same kind of thing. For the Phantom Demons deck, this is a great way to awaken. It's just, again, really cool card. This is a new cycle we've seen. Almost every leader archetype has a card like this, and this is just the one for the Phantom Demons. Next up, we have Time Trauma Mass Sand. There's one card I was hoping I opened that I want to talk to you guys about, but we'll see. I thought this was it, but this isn't it. Auto, when you play this card, if your leader card is black, you may choose up to 2 cards from your life and add them to your hand. If you choose to add 1 or more card to your hand, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 5 or less and send it to the warp. Like we talked about, this is the same thing. This is just like this guy, but it's for black. That is important though. Important to note that this is a Mass Saiyan. It's not like a Xeno Bardock or anything like that. So you're only going to play this if you really need to awaken in a black deck. Unfortunately, like a lot of the other callers, and the big problem with these cards is that we just have so many ways to awaken now that these cards just aren't quite good enough. But I think they're primarily designed for draft and to give you a way to awaken, self-awaken in draft. And to that end, they do a great job. Extra Strike SS Sun Goten. Actually, here's the Goten we talked about. I see what they did. They made it Sun Goten GT. So that's how they fixed it. So it wasn't Sun Goten Youth. You can't get this guy because he's a Sun Goten GT. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, Evolve to Sun Goten GT. Dual attack. There is dual attack. I love dual attack, guys. If you have 4 or less cards in your hand, this card gains plus 5,000 power and can attack battle cards that are in active mode. Actually, really cool. Again, I don't think this is as good as Jiren. Like, for example, the Jiren SR is probably just better. I don't think that you're going to be using the Evolve very often. And so this is really just a dual attacker that if you have 4 or less cards in your hand is a 25k. Jiren's just a 4 cost with no restrictions. That's 30k on the first attack, which is I think just better. But again, if you don't have Jiren's or don't have access to that, or maybe you're running a niche GT deck, this effect is very powerful. Next up, we have Gravy Indemegris Thrall. That's a weird name. Shouldn't it be Gravy Demegris Thrall, not Indemegris Thrall? Okay. So Auto, when you attack or combo with this card, if your leader card is black, choose up to 2 cards in your warp and place them in your drop area. This is just the same cycle, guys, but for black. Again, I don't think these cards are that great. And it looks like we have our girl Time Control behind her. Yeah, really cool. We talked about this card. Again, Sky is Not Falling. Good card. We have the Barrier Piccolo. We have the 2-drop. Oh, good. I'm glad we opened this card. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I do want to. This video is going to be like over an hour long, but this is a good example of something you can use with the Father Gohan here. So what you can do is you just on turn 1 you just play this out, right, and then you just immediately just put it back in your hand and then play this guy out, right, and you've played a 2-drop out for free. Right, you've paid no energy to do that, and it also has barrier, so it won't be able to die. And then on your next turn, you use the 2 yellow to swap this out for a 3-drop. You see it? You see what I mean? That's like a good example of how the swap mechanic works. Really good card, and honestly, probably one of the best 2-drop swap cards. Ectoplasm, we talked about that. Frigid Blast Poutine. Dark Overwhelm 3. Let's see. Auto, when you play this card, choose up to one Demegra with an energy cost of 4 or less from your deck and add to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Pretty cool in the Demegra decks. It's a little bit of a searcher. It is Dark Overwhelm for 3 though, which just seems, you know, I don't think that you want to be using your Overwhelms, especially your Dark Overwhelms, to go get a card. It just doesn't seem powerful enough for an Overwhelm. Maybe if this was like Dark Overwhelm 1 or some weird number, you know, you might be able to do that, but it still just seems ridiculous to pay Overwhelm for this. It's just not good enough for the effect that you're paying for. Sacrifice, nice, nice. Another Dependable on Bulma, and our card is Lord Slug, young again. Awesome. So we got a really pretty cool rare here. Auto Bantu, Slug's Army. When you play this card, if your leader card is Slug's Army, choose up to one Slug's Army in your drop area with an energy cost 3 or less and play it. Then choose up to one of your energy and switch it to active mode. Pretty neat. This is obviously going to be really great in like the Slug Army, you know, type decks. But you know, those decks, I think, you know, Slug is just a great leader in general, and I think that the bond mechanic is not needed for him. I think that he doesn't have enough support to make his bond extremely consistent, but his leader is just great in general. So I think that you don't really have to worry too much about that. Trying to meet these type of restrictions with Slug, I think that you could just literally build the deck with good cards and just discard, you know, discard their hand and attack them with critical, and you'll be good enough. But this card's actually really neat. For a rare, it's a little expensive. Obviously, 4 is very expensive in our current format, but the effect is pretty powerful. So definitely. All right, guys. Well, that's it for the pack openings. I do want to say thank you so much to Bandai. Oh, actually, before I do that, I'll lay out these cards. These are all the cards we opened. We got Lord Slug, Dragon Fist, SS3 Son Goku. We got Oaths, Power Trunks, Dark Control, Demon God Demegra. We got Special Beam Cannon as our foil, and then our SR, we got our girl Khalifa. Love this card. It's so cool. Like I said, one of my favorite cards, if not my favorite card in the sets. Don't think it's that powerful, but love the card. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And special thanks to Bandai for giving me these this starter deck and packs to open. It's just been amazing. It's been so much fun. And again, guys, a little apologize for the lack of content that's been coming out the last couple months, but I have been working very hard with PPG and ARG to set up the next regional events, and I'm super excited to get those set up and get you guys you know, to those events. We have so many cool things planned for you guys, and I can't wait for you guys to continue to be playing Dragon Ball in this next competitive season. If you guys are going to Gen Con, I'll be there. I'll be there for the whole week, so definitely stop by and see me. Love you guys so much, and thank you so much for watching. Anyway, guys, until next time, I'll see you next time.